Pasha Pyro, YNet7. Thank you for tuning. The replay. Big board P.E.P for my peeps. Yeah. So, I know y'all had a great day today. At the same time, though, the market, it's been down. Like, it's been red for the last couple of days a lot. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of stuff is down, right? And that's why I support you guys, because we keeping it up. You know what I'm saying? And it's the lack of emotion, the emotional attachments that allow you to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I know that's gonna be hard for some of y'all, but to me that's what makes it easy. So let's take a look at some things here. First of all, we had a couple good comments. So we had a comment earlier from Evan Morgan, right? Great overview of FRSX. Keep them coming. You know, thanks for the support. I appreciate your feedback. You know, I do it for myself and for people like you that enjoy the content. And thank you for taking the time to acknowledge it, you know? So that's what's up. Big ups to you. And then we have Mel Dag, if I said that correctly, said that they just bought 1,800 shares of I'm gonna call it, I always call it bingo at $1. You know, so congratulations to you. You know what I mean, for getting in, and there's no bad time to get in. So, you know, depending on what time you got in the day, there was a couple of times of the day you could have hit that dollar point earlier or later, but either way, you're in a great position. Congratulations. We're gonna go over today. Actually, the primary focus of this video is gonna be on Bingo's action today, price action. So let's look at FRSX real quick, just to get a quick recap. So we saw this yesterday. They put out the sale of the shares at $4.15 each, and we was thinking that that would create a solid floor at $4. So when we look at today, that actually turned out to be the case. You see a nice dip early on, and it stayed above the $4 mark. Then if you were at the right place at the right time, you caught this highlighted area, and that was a nice, almost a whole dollar swing for you, a whole dollar spike. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot because you're like, but it went back down. But you know how we play, or you know how I play. So catching that spike, if you had 100 shares, you know, that's $100. You know what I mean? Or if you saw this, like, because actually, I'll tell you why in a second, but I got out, or not, completely, but I greatly reduced my shares in this, just for the time being. Like I told you, when you feel like you have time, there's no rush. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people, you know, when you feel out of control, or you feel like you're in a situation that you're not in control of, you always want things to happen quick because you don't know how much time you have, right? You want it to be fast. You want things, you know, and we've all been there. To me, when you're playing the market or anything that you want to have the best quality, you gotta take your time. You gotta have the time to do it, and you know what I'm saying. So what happened was, when we get to bingo, there was some nice activity there, and there's always volatility in the beginning of the day, right? So, but I like to go with what's true, and what's true is what's in front of you. You know what I mean? Like, not what could be. You know what I'm saying? Not what's possible. That is true, but it's not manifested as of right now, right? So you see how this started and it dipped in the early part of the day. It went from basically 460 to 460 about there, and it dropped down to near $4. Well, somewhere in that in between there, right? I kind of just said, you know what, this is red. I'm gonna cut this off for right now because I wanted to have a quality day with bingo, right? This is how I maneuver. Like I'm into quality relationships. So me and bingo had a quality relationship today. You know what I'm saying? So I let go of FRSX for the moment. Now it's no big deal. Now see here, you come back, you're screening, you come back, you check it later on, you catch this curve here, and you can ride this all the way up and you can get a whole dollar out of it. So if you come back, see this is now hit a floor because it was on a decline, like you don't know how long that's going to go. The whole market is pulling back. So again, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know if you noticed, but the market, it wasn't like a sharp decline, no, okay, but it has been, the whole market has been pulling back. All your favorite stocks are red. You know what I mean? Like you got people talking about NEO. Why is NEO going down for the last 2 weeks? You know what I mean? Like, why is this going down? It's because, like I said, the market is pulling back. Now, of course, it didn't happen in an hour, which I didn't ever say it was going to be a sharp spike. But this is why I changed the strategy. You know what I mean? You got to be agile so that you can capitalize while reducing your risk. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to talk about that on the flip side in a moment with bingo, because I'm telling you, bingo, BINGO, and bingo was his name though, right? So you come back, you get maybe you catch this, maybe you don't, but the good thing is it held the $4 floor that we were anticipating, and aside from the spike, it was relatively flat, okay, for at least up until I took this shot, right? So I think that's a good thing, and it really creates a nice foundation for some upward price action in the next few trading sessions. All right. So now let's real quick, let's just look at RMG, right? Because RMG is another one that we were waiting to see where the floor develops. And going back here, now here's the cool part with this one. Like I like to hold myself accountable, and this is great practice for me, because when I'm doing these executions of analysis, like, you know, I own my success. You know what I mean? Success meaning results. The word success just simply means result. So I own my success. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the excitement of the day-to-day comes from this. You know what I mean? Like, this is just how an excited Virgo looks. You know what I mean? Like, I'm jumping up and down too, but I don't have all that emotional shit. So I'm excited. There, that's the word, that's the feeling. But here's what happens. Look at this right here. So yesterday I said the only stability, right, was the 29.93 was the only stability in a range from 26.29 to the $40. So when we come to that today, remember that 26.29. Now, this right here, let me get my notes real quick. Hold on. What was that? This right here, this bottom line here is 25.57. So I was off by like 70 cents, man. You know what I mean? Like, I be kicking myself because I'm off by 70 cents. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's why I just be by myself, because I don't need any competition. I'm my own competition. You see what I mean? And that's what I think a lot of you guys need to understand. Like, you're not in competition with nobody. When you see someone post numbers in a group, or you know, you don't know how long they've been doing it. You don't know what their bank is like and what their account size is. You don't know. You know what I mean? So you can't see you can't see their success, like their results, and be emotional about that, because you're putting yourself in competition with the unknown. You don't know nothing about that. You don't know nothing. You just see, and you're you know what I mean. So here's what's the best thing to do if you're a newcomer, or you're looking just to get better. Period. I just be in competition with myself. So you see how accurate I be sometimes. I've called stocks on this channel. If you go back, if you're new, within a penny of the entry point, more than once. And I told you guys then, like, I'm excited, but like now the work begins, because you gotta keep duplicating that. You see what I mean? Then you do it again. You're like, yeah, here go another one within a penny. Yeah, let me keep doing this, because I'm a perfectionist, right? So I don't really have time for lackluster sports. You know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to make a career out of this, in the future at some point, or even right now, this is how serious I take this, and this is why you see me. This is why you don't see me maybe doing a lot of things or with a lot of people that you think I should be with or doing, because I just take everything so serious. So I'm like, damn, I'm 70 cents off. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did I miscalculate that? Let me go back. You know what I mean? So, but the cool part is, I told you guys yesterday, the aside from that 29, that little strip area there in yellow in the middle of that red, the bottom stability factor was at 26.29. So it dropped and it went past that by like 70 cents or so, right? Okay. But that's where we're at. Now, the good thing about RMG is, let's pay attention to this, because as you can see, since that last spike there up at the top on the right, the last peak, it's been a nice drop. You know, it had that plummet, it came back up a little bit, it fell again, or still in the same free fall, has another peak, right? But the difference here is this one is a little flatter, and we can't really get excited about that upward tail there. Again, it's the aftermarket, after hours, and you can see the difference in the volume. Like, it's not that it's a special group or you got to have some elite thing to get there. Like I could do after hours trading, but I just don't trust it, because, or post out and pre-market trading, but I don't trust it because you're not trading with the actual market numbers. So if I feel like, and you know, somebody in the comments, let me know your perspective on this. Tell me what you think. Help us all learn here, because what I notice is, you can be watching your pre-market and like we talked about yesterday, it doesn't match the actual market when it opens. You know what I mean? So you could be in a position where you feel like maybe you don't work the whole pre-market or the post-market or both, and you feel like you're up $4 a share, but when the market opens, you might not be. So I don't know how to rate that, aside from play that market and then close out like it's the end of the day, like I do with that strategy, and just sell off prior to the end of the pre-market or the post-market. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. But here's the thing. It's kind of, this is like the flattest it's been since the fall, right? So let's watch this to see if 27 is going to be the new floor. And then if 27 is the new floor, now we can start to gauge, the price action from there forward. So that's the quick reviews of those two. Again, shout out to Evan Morgan and Meldag, especially for getting that in at $1, because we're going to go over why. So here is what I want to talk to y'all about today. Okay, we're gonna spend some time with bingo, because this was a great day, and this is why I just closed up shop with everything else, because for the day, like when I saw this early on taking its upward climb early, right? So you had the shares you carried over from the day before, and we knew this was going to be an exciting play right here. We knew bingo was going to be the play, right? So I'll read the text real quick, and then we'll get into the play-by-play. So the P.E.P closed at $1.33. Now, technically that's up 50% on the day, but it had a high of 149, right? Prior to close. Because when I typed this up, it was just over 150, okay? In the after hours, and I looked a little while ago and it was over 170. Hold on, let's see here. Yeah, currently it's at 176. So that's awesome, right? And I'm gonna tell you how all this plays out, right? So watch this. So that's actually 50% in the first hour. You see what I mean? So I think this is it's definitely hitting in the same trajectory to my little channel there. So on the high end, I'm not even gonna say on the high end, because you see how this I said it could double shortly, and it was like I said it would be at what 120 to 150, and like we there. You know what I mean? I wasn't certain that it was gonna be the next day. That's why I didn't promise that to you, but I knew where we were going. So I'm gonna just put $2 tomorrow with question marks, because we might see 3 at this rate. And this is why you don't need to rush when you're not following the herd, like when you're not on YouTube or you're not in a Facebook group waiting for someone to tell you what to do, right? Because you like directions instead of destinations, right? You get plays like this. You see what I'm saying? Because by the time the masses know about it, the stock is moving. So if I could give you some advice today, today's advice would be ahead of the curve. Be ahead of the herd. Then you can be patient. It takes the stress out. Like we're talking about a stock that big boy P.E.P was in when it was 50 cents. No G unit. You know what I'm saying? So by the time, now remember, we talked about how FRSX is the new Luminar. So we know Luminar went to like $40, right? So think about it. You're in a stock that has the potential to be at $40 and you're in at 50 cents. Why are you rushing? Like, why are you trying to grab every single dime you think you can squeeze out of it? Watch this. Now, so Mel, right? Again, congrats to her or him. So they got in at $1. That could have been at about 10 a.m. or it could have been like closer to noon, right? Good entry points. Either way, because it depends on how you play. There's no wrong way to play. I'm just going over my notes with you. So, and the things I'm saying are things I'm reminding myself of too. It's not personal. Like if you're someone that you feel like what I said is talking negative about you, don't look at it like that. It's what it is that it's me using that observation to remind me of why I have the perspective I have and to keep exercising that because of this. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's also like that's what happens when you use emotion sometime instead of reality. You think you know maybe what I'm saying because you think you have a feeling, right? But that's not how stocks work. You see what I mean? So here's what I'm getting at. So you come in, you hold in, let's say you hold in, I don't know, a few hundred stocks from or shares from the day before, right? So you holding those. You see this move. You already know this is going to be your play. You already know this is the play. Bingo is the play. You've been waiting. You looking. It's got action. So boom, you just get like 2,000 more shares, right, from the rip. I mean, quick. It don't necessarily have to be like boom 2,000. Maybe you did like 500, 1,000, or maybe you did 1,000, 500, 500, and like real quick, back to back. And then you let that ride all the way up. And you caught this 132 was plenty of time there where it started to stall. You see what I'm saying? So like we talked about earlier, from 88 cents to 132 is 50% right there. So if you're sitting on over 2,000 shares, at that moment, I see it stalling for entertainment purposes only. I sold like 90% of my stake right there. Boom. And at that moment, I look at where I'm at for the day at, a little after 10 o'clock. And I had some losses on some other stuff because it was still early. Not to say there was going to end up being losses, but we know a lot of the market is red. So I had I cleared out a lot of stuff before anyway, but I held on to a couple things. Like I had some stake in FRSX. I had some, shares and some other stuff here and there, some small stuff. I picked up a couple things on purpose with small gambles to see how they were going to do out the gate. Nothing major. 100 shares here, 50 shares there, nothing major. So because it was so early, they were in the red because that's pretty much what a lot of stuff do early on. So by this time, this was such a good play. I just sold everything. Like I kept a little bit of FRSX, but pretty much everything else I just sold because at this point in time, this is the play for the day. I don't want no distractions. So, and it was a good thing that I hit that sell at 132-ish because as you can see, it dropped all the way back down to basically, what's that, to $1, right? So if you were holding, it's not bad because you're gonna say, like, if you're in the long term, just I'm gonna hold this for like 5 months and see what happens. You're not feeling bad because you ended the day at 132, right? But an hour after the day started, it hit 132. So bam, capitalize on that profit lock, boom, right? And you're like, but you sold, 1,700 shares. Yeah, I did, because I don't know where this floor is going to be. So let's lock in the profit here. Now, guess what? When you find out that it's going to hit $1 and it starts to come back up and you feel confident, I found confidence in the come up about the fourth candlestick. Because see, it fell down into the green zone for me. This is my green zone. Like, these are my charts. I didn't make the program, but these are the charts that I made. I'm not borrowing this from somebody else. You know what I mean? So, everything you see on here, I put there. So these candlesticks, about the fourth one, like right in the one where it started to cross out of the green zone, I felt confident about that because so I got back in, I still had shares, but I had shares that I was comfortable with that, 40-cent loss on was negligible. You know what I mean? Compared to what I just sold off. So now you see the second arrow. So I'm like, boom, okay, give me 200. Okay, it's going on. Okay, give me another 500. Okay, give me 400. All right, let's get another 1,000. Boom, you're back up here. Now you get some instability, a little red zone, but it's small, some turbulence, and you catch like that last green area. Somewhere in that area, I sold off like the majority of what I had at that time. Boom. Because this yellow zone here between, what was it? It was between 122 and 127. I knew from the first spike that was like a dead area. It didn't really have any floor. So when it hit that near area and started turning red, and then we had a nice jump, but it couldn't hold it and it started to red again, boom, I'm out. I'm out for the moment. And I needed to see, what I was looking for was, like I said, at 122 to 127. And this is where it was holding. You see, it was kind of flat for a moment. So it was at like 117-ish. And that's where I saw Mel's comment about he or she got in at $1, and I responded something like, it's real comfortable at 117 right now, and it played out 117 for a while longer, and then it started to move up, right? It hit my red zone, my top red zone, then it dropped back down, then it went up again, but it didn't get out of the red zone, because what I was looking for was, I was like, okay, once it gets out of the red zone, I wanted to see it hold some ground above the 127, and it didn't do that, right? But it kept trying. So it went up, it got higher. The second time it got higher, so then I got in at that bubble there, somewhere around there, because I felt like this time it was gonna push through. And it wasn't like, oh, I felt like it. It was because it wasn't like it was hitting the same spot and coming down. It was hitting a higher spot each time it went up before it had a fall, right? Not to say it was major falls at that point, but before it had a fall, a pullback. So I said, I'm in here. I got like something like 250 shares, right? And we had that moment of turbulence with the red, but once it passed over that and it went green again, load back up, give me another 500, give me another 200, whatever it is, right? And ride that to the top of that, boom. Okay. Then it plummeted, like, boom. So you get out again. Here you are. This was like 138 or so, I think it was, area. So I think I got out at like 135. Not completely, but like 90% of what I was holding at that time. Comes back down, drops back into the red area, but look, it's going higher and higher each time. So okay, at that point in time, I'm like, word. We know we're getting close to close. What is it? It's almost 3 o'clock there. So you get in on the way up, and you ride that all the way up to, it hit 148. But what I did was, it was such a good day. I just, after it crossed over 142, I just set the stop limit at 140, because if it kept climbing after that, great. But 140 was like, when I did the math real quick, that I was so far over I was over my goal already, of course, but I didn't want to just give it all back, not to say, oh, well, here, I'm way over my goal. We're gonna max this out, but at the same time give it room to work. So I just set the stop limit for 140, and because that's kind of like what I agreed to be willing to lose on any from where it was, you know what I mean, which wasn't much. I was trying to get it all. So, and because I wasn't sure if it was going to keep climbing for the end of the day or if it was going to drop in a sell-off. So, but that way I protected, not all of it, maybe like 85% of what I had at that time. I just set a stop limit for a sell at 140, and it dropped. So boom, they sold off. It came all the way down to like, I think it was in the 20s possibly, or definitely the low 30s. And it did a little play after that, and then it got into the aftermarket or the after hours. So you actually had 1, 2, 3, maybe even more, but 1, 2, 3, 4 solid climbs in today alone. So you're looking at $1 to $1.32, or what was that? Actually, it was 88 cents because it came in from yesterday. So 88 cents to 132, right? Then you're looking at what, $1 to $1.20. That's another 20 cents per share. Then you're looking at $1.20 to like 38, 39, depending on when you catch it. Even if you didn't catch it to 35 or get out to 35 or something, that's 15 cents a share. And then you got 120 to, if you waited all the way to the peak and caught the peak, you would have had 148, 149. But I just killed it at 140. So that was another 20 cents per share. And then however many shares you got, that's up to you. That's personal, right? But because I knew that I didn't want to go crazy on it and get like 10,000 shares, but so a few thousand shares here and there, sell them, buy another 1,000 here, boom. You know, that's a few $100 a pop if it goes 20 cents, right? So this was a great day. I just wanted to take the time to show you in a little bit more detail how to stay safe, because the market is crazy right now, and you know, you're seeing a lot of red now. Oh, don't want to forget this. So now, right, I'm left with only a few hundred shares at the end of the day. And you're like, but Posh, you know what I mean? It's going up. It's at 170, and you sold most of your shares, so you missing out. Remember, we talking about FOMO here. This is the execution of anti-FOMO, right? And it's not always this perfectly executed, and it's not always this easy when it plays out like this, because sometimes you be ready to stay there a little longer, and then boom, it dropped, and then now you're trying to hang on and give it another second for it to come up, and it don't, and instead of making 500, you make $1.50. You know what I mean? That's these slight differences here. So, which $1.50 still ain't nothing to sneeze at. You're up for the day, you know, and to say you could have had 600 is still nothing to kick yourself about, because if you're still practicing some discipline that kept you from going in the red for the day. So it's just a matter of execution. But with practice, you know, you'll see days like this. You know what I mean? And the only difference between where we're at and like Warren Buffett is, you know, you may be buying 500 shares of this and catch it going up. They may be buying 500,000. So I think this is a great way to get to the point to be able to have 500,000 to make those moves with, because you're being really, you're not your risk is lower than if you just cross your fingers and just wait. You know what I'm saying? You're taking control of your situation. You're taking ownership. So to comment on that whole, but Pasha, it's up another 40 cents right now. Well, that's true, right? And as you can see, it dropped right before. So let's say this didn't stop at 132. What if it went all the way back down to $1? And you sitting on all those shares, now you lose a third of what you have invested. Not to say it won't come back or nothing, but it's gone today, right? So I would rather guarantee having that and reduce from maybe having 1,500 shares or 1,000 shares to going on to the next day with only 200, right? And here's the benefit, because I know we've established the fact that, but you could have had, you know, $400 more tomorrow. Maybe that's not even promised, because it's in the aftermarket. We talked about that. It's going to be a pre-market tomorrow, so people could be taking profit cuts tomorrow. I seen stuff. Matter of fact, what did it? RMG just did it a couple days ago. It was up $5 a share in the pre-market, and by the time the market opened, it was right. It was right at like $1 up. You see what I'm saying? So you're not. That's not promised, for one, and you can't predict that. I mean, I know we got these nice lines and charts and everything, but you can't predict that. So if you want to risk all of that, that's on you, because the stock was just at 50 cents the other day. How good do you feel? It's only been less than a week or 10 days. It was at 50 cents. So if this thing decides to go to 50 cents tomorrow and you in it $5,000 deep because you feel like, you know, it's a cheap stock, there you go. So I would rather look. We done been in it since 50 cents. We up here. We capitalized 1, 2, 3, 4 pulls a day. Yeah, there's no need to be greedy. You see what I'm saying? But this took being patient and taking your time. You know what I mean? When you're in a rush, you're just gonna throw the money in it and say, "Okay, I'm going." And then you come back and you say, "Oh, I'm up." 50 cents on a day. Okay, cool. But let's see, if we add this up, you know what I mean, 20, maybe 15, that's 35, another 20, 55, 40. You got a whole dollar out of this. Right? All right. So I would rather say, okay, you're sitting on 1,600 shares. You sold all but 200 of them. Go into the next day with 200. All right, so it went up 40 cents. That means that tomorrow, let's say it holds that 40 cent right now. Let's say it holds 170. Let's say nothing changes during the pre-market. Then you start with 40 cent times $200. 200 shares. So that means you starting your day with $80 green. Now, the bonus factor is I kind of cleared the board with everything else because that's going to free me up to really see what's going on with this and maybe add one or two. I really don't want to even have three. I want to have like two. I'll maybe add one play tomorrow. If not, this will be solely what I'm focused on. So I don't have anything else that's going to start off all crazy and drag down that. So you're starting off in the green. If this stays in the green, you're starting off in the green. So if it's only 200 shares today, you start off with $80 green. Now you get to build from that. Remember, we talking about making $100 to $500 a day. So if you're starting off with 80, you could close out your day and know that you're almost at 23,000 a year right there on that average. Okay, so don't try to make everything the home run. And I'm not saying that's what you did. I'm just saying this is how I execute. So when the risk was moderate, when it was at 50 cent, and you're sitting on 1,000 shares, cool. Couple thousand shares, cool. It's only $1,000 at that point. You see what I'm saying? So if you got to realize the stock would actually the company would have to go bankrupt and go to zero for you to lose the whole $1,000. You see what I mean? Now here, it's a little different. You're up 340% since then. So it has room to collapse a little bit, still be a valuable stock in the future, but you're going to be kicking yourself because you had an opportunity to remedy that ahead of time. And that's what it is. This is what I want to see you guys practice. If you want to, it's entertainment purposes only. I can't tell you what to do. I'm just going over my notes. And again, this is really me talking to myself in front of a camera for your entertainment. Right? And maybe you might benefit from it too. So and then work out your financial situations with the legal stuff, because these plays are different than if you just put some money in it today and hold on to it for 5 years. It's different for it may be different for you. Okay, so check that out. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you got any feedback or insight on or experience with the post-market and pre-market. I have the opportunity to trade there. I think many of you do, but I just don't because I just don't know enough about it yet. So I just stick with what I know because what I know is working. It's working well. So Pasha Pyro, YNet 7, thank you for tuning. The replay, big board, P.E.P for my peeps. Make sure you hit the notification bell, subscribe, share. You know what I mean? I appreciate all you.